Firefighters usually save lives, but after rescuing a man from a marsh, one firefighter needed saving himself. During the rescue, 2 ticks bit Daniel Goswick and forced him to the hospital with flu-like symptoms, where he was initially misdiagnosed with a urinary tract infection. As his kidneys and liver shut down, Goswick felt like he was dying. When tests finally revealed this was no flu. Goswick had babesiosis and Lyme disease. NBC News, November 13th, 2018, documents infections carried by ticks has hit a record high in the U.S., with nearly 60,000 people diagnosed in 2017. And Dr. John Acott, director of the Johns Hopkins Lyme Disease Research Center, cites that the true number could be 10 times that. The Santa Clarita Signal, November 4th, 2018, tells the story of Southern California native Sarah Starkle. She was bitten by a tick at age 13, contracting Lyme disease. Sarah, now 31, weeps. "I feel like I'm dying. A very slow, painful death." We need to stop ticks from the slow burn epidemic they've become, because our next public health crisis is about to strike from our own backyards. First, we'll diagnose the problem of tick-borne diseases. Second, inspect the causes of this growing infestation. And finally, extract solutions. Because as The Guardian, January 25th, 2018 announces, forget Ebola, SARS, and Zika. Ticks are the next global health threat. Stephanie Taylor, after being bit by a tick while camping in the Blue Ridge Mountains, returned home and developed digestive distress, rashes, swelling, and pain in her legs. The same danger awaits us. Ticks can be found on every continent and have one of the widest distributions of any disease-transmitting insect on Earth. ABC, May 1st, 2018, outlines that cases of Lyme disease have more than doubled since 2004, approximately 300,000 each year. No one is immune. As singer Avril Lavigne explains her struggle with Lyme disease to Women's Health magazine, October 19th, 2018, "I was in bed for 2 years. I had accepted I was dying." Many don't feel the initial bite, leaving them at greater risk, as the bug's saliva contains an anesthetic like Novocaine that numbs the skin. PBS San Francisco, March 20th, 2018, illustrates how ticks latch and stay on, calling them a feat of engineering, with a menacing mouth covered in hooks. It's almost like swimming into the skin. Since they're so small, many remain unaware that these multi-legged vampires have hitched a ride. The Center for Disease Control, May 8th, 2018, released a tweet showing a muffin decorated in poppy seeds, as well as poppy seed-sized bugs. Can you spot all 5 ticks? Lyme disease results in lifelong battles with fever, rash, arthritis, Bell's palsy, and meningitis. More serious diseases like Rocky Mountain spotted fever, anaplasmosis, ehrlichiosis, and babesiosis can be deadly. The University of Connecticut reports on May 8th, 2018, that the newly identified Persuasive virus kills 1 out of every 10 people, and transmission takes place in as little as 15 minutes. Co-infections of Lyme disease and babesiosis present their own tragic complications. Mark Brighton from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, was repeatedly diagnosed with a spider bite until his fever forced him to the hospital. He now shares, 3 days later, I was a quadriplegic. Stephanie Taylor frequently passed out, breaking bones and teeth, after her doctor misdiagnosed her tick bite and the CDC denied she had Lyme disease. And her case is much like others, caused by 1, ongoing ignorance, 2, CDC mismanagement, and 3, warming temperatures. Ticks are often associated with remote locations like the forests in the Northeast. However, armies of bloodsuckers are now everywhere, including new allegiances with states once thought of as safe here in the West. Time magazine, May 2nd, 2018, reveals that the geographic range of disease-spreading ticks has steadily grown over the past 20 years. And Nate Nieto, professor of biological sciences at Northern Arizona University, disclosed this to CBS News July 13th, 2018. They're not obeying borders. If they get moved by a deer or bird or people or pets, they're going to start growing. Additionally, in 1942, Congress established the CDC, specifically to prevent malaria, a debilitating disease spreading through mosquitoes. But no system exists for our never-ending war with ticks. The Chicago Tribune, May 7th, 2018, exposes that more than 80% of state and local health departments need improvements in controlling insects that transmit diseases. There's never been public funding to support surveillance efforts. So Ben Beard, chief of the CDC's Vector-Borne Disease Division, admits to Wired July 4th, 2018, we have national maps, but we don't have detailed local information about where the worst areas are. Finally, vector-borne diseases are spreading due to warming temperatures and elevated humidity. The Washington Post, June 18th, 2018, uncovers that increased climate fluctuations are allowing ticks to survive in areas previously too cold to support them. Tick-borne disease isn't on the radar for most doctors outside of the Northeast. Alex Hudson of Fresno, California, was bit by a tick, but it would take 10 years before being tested for Lyme disease. After she dropped to 59 pounds, became bedridden, and died at 22, her mother laments, she was in pain 24/7. The pain she endured, nobody should have to suffer. Paralyzed, unable to walk, and having lost hope, Stephanie Taylor finally saw a doctor who confirmed a tick infected her with Lyme disease and prescribed her the necessary remedies. And similar solutions exist for us, legislators, and the tech industry. First, PBS May 26, 2018 recommends checking for attached bloodsuckers after any outdoor activity. As someone who's more than bothered by bugs, I know I'm not alone in my delusions of wanting a bug-free world. But whether it's on a hike or not, I know that a daily thorough look for distinctive bullseye rash is key. Ticks particularly love to hide behind the knees, in the groin, in the scalp, and under the armpits. And Dr. Max DeShaw, an infectious disease specialist, advises that if you remove the parasite within the first 24 hours, you greatly reduce your chances of Lyme disease. Second, as the CDC faces deep budget cuts, we must invest in state and local health departments. In the New York Times, May 1st, 2018, Dr. Robert Redfield, the director of the CDC, calls them our first line of defense. The Department of Health and Human Services, February 23rd, 2018, acknowledges that up-to-date data is critical to measure prevention efforts and to monitor disease emergence into new territories. Third, researchers have developed 2 new smartphone apps to help them identify the locations of ticks. Self Magazine, July 14th, 2018, highlights the simply named apps, Tick App and Report a Tick, which both invite users to share information about bites along with pictures, so entomologists can identify it in as quickly as 10 minutes and determine areas with more risk. Identifying if you've been bitten is key. Kaylee Griffin, a 5-year-old girl from Mississippi, was suddenly paralyzed. Doctors suspected everything from a stroke to neurological syndrome until they found a tick, removed it, and her symptoms faded. Her mother advocates to ABC News, June 11th, 2018, please, for the love of God, check for ticks. First, we examined our tick problem. Second, we got ticked about the cause of our ever-growing tick population. And third, spread solutions to debug our tick nightmare. Ticks are the next public health crisis, and with the dangers living right next door, we need to recognize and protect ourselves. When asked about the irony that his heroic mountainside rescue ended with his own near-death experience, Goswick replied, "It's just part of the job. It's what we do. And what we need to do is spread awareness so we don't become victims ourselves."